and they beat the Giants 33-32, which 33 points came in the fourth quarter. But
it's pretty soft schedule.
Exactly. So, the Cowboys, they beat 44-24. That's a good win in my book. You know what I mean? And then they beat the Texans 18-15. And then last week, the Raiders 10-7. So they really haven't beaten teams besides the Eagles, that were really above 500,
Yeah.
So are we really, is this team really a playoff contender? Are they going to make noise in the playoffs?
No.
Yeah, I mean, they're. I feel like they're going to make the playoffs for sure, but I don't think they're. I don't think they're much of a threat in the playoffs. Unlike I think what Travis was saying, Indy has that running game and that travels well in the playoffs, and that's how you win playoff football games, is with a good rushing attack and good defense. And I feel like Indy's okay in that regard. But yeah, as for Denver, they'll make the playoffs, but I'm not expecting much out of them come playoff time.
Well, also, I don't know if you've seen recent news, but J.K. Dobbins is hurt as well, so we don't know if they're going to put him on IR or not. So that determines a lot there too, because J.K. Dobbins has been having a great year. So now the bright side of this game, and I know there wasn't that many, but the bright side of this game, 19 carries for 60 yards. I know his yards weren't a lot, but Ashton Jeanty actually looks very good. And when they're able to build around him and put a line and put some weapons and a real quarterback around him, I honestly think he has the potential to be a top 3 back in the league. He's very good and can put his foot in the ground and get where he needs to go. So we'll see what happens there. But the Raiders is another franchise and it's going to be the next game we talk about. But the Raiders is another franchise like the Giants, right? And this is me bashing my own team because they've had so long to try to fix these issues that they've had over year, and they haven't done it yet, right? So just like the Giants, they've had so long to fix this issues that they've had. And, this is 4 or 5 games now this year that the Giants have been up 10 plus points and ended up losing the game. And last week was one of them against the Bears. We were up 20-10, and we let the Bears come back and win 24-20. And Jackson Dart got concussion, got taken out the game. We seen Wilson come in, throw fucking balls in the ground. It's just it's a non-factor issue to where they haven't fixed it. Now the Bears, on the other hand, and Travis, we're going to start with you on this question: are the Bears a threat in the playoffs this year?
I don't really believe in them either. I don't know. I don't believe in Caleb Williams yet either. He don't really have the tools to throw to on offense. Their defense is mediocre. I wouldn't be worried about them either.
Eric?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I think they definitely look better. I think DeAndre Swift's had a better season. Even last week, coming off of injury, had a solid game. I like what Odunze's been doing. Loveland's finally starting to show some promise. But overall, compared to some of the other teams like the Eagles, the Lions, even the Packers, who have been struggling recently a bit, I think that I don't think a threat at all.
Okay.
Yeah, I would agree. I think they're, we're starting to see a little bit more like trick plays and kind of some of that Ben Johnson influence coming out of their in their game. So that lets me know that they're kind of feeling a little bit more confident and a little bit more comfortable in kind of their base offense, and realizing that they should try to do some of these trick plays and stuff like that. So I feel like they're getting there. It's not right now for me, not this year for me, but maybe next year, the year after is really going to be the kind of where we start taking them a little bit more seriously.
Well, they are 6-3, and I think they already had their bye, if I'm not mistaken. And looking at the teams that they beat, like we did with the with the Broncos, you know, they lost to the Lions 52-21, right? They beat the Raiders 25-24. They beat a mediocre Cowboys team at 31-14, right? They beat the Saints team that is the worst team in the league 26-14. Like, these are the games that we start looking at that they need to win by 30, 40 points, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They lost to the Ravens 30-16. They beat the Bengals on a last minute play 47-42. So with the Bengals as Joe Flacco at their quarterback, that Bears defense let them put up 42 points against that defense. They let the Lions with a high-powered offense put up 52 points against that defense.
Mm-hmm.
So if they expect to go in the playoffs and win these games, their defense has got to do something, because you can't allow these teams to put up this many points and expect your offense to repeat what, the other offense is doing, because you're going to be playing against teams like the Lions, the Eagles, a lot of these high-powered offenses, even the
Caleb
Packers.
Williams isn't good enough to put up that many points yet.
That's misses my point. And, he does look good. He's having a underrated year like he did last year. He does look good for a second-year quarterback, but, does he look good enough for a playoff run? Does he look good to beat these better teams in the playoffs?
Yeah, exactly.
And
That win against Cincinnati said more about how bad Cincinnati's defense is, than it did about how good Chicago's offense is. Like, for them to put up 47 points, it kind of signals how bad the Bengals defense is, and they
I'm a
just let
Bengals
anybody
fan.
score
Easy.
points on
Travis is a Bengal fan, so
Yeah, take it easy on me.
them. Sorry, I didn't know. I didn't know.
I know they're bad.
but you are right though, Mafia, and in an instinct. But also you got to think about how bad the Bears defense is to let Joe Flacco and that offense put up 42 points as well. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Joe Flacco should be in a wheelchair somewhere, rolling around, retired. But he's putting up 42 points against a playoff contending defense.
Yep.
You understand what I'm
Yep.
saying? So,
Yep.
I mean, the question is the Bears a threat in the playoffs?
No, I don't believe in them. I wouldn't.
I don't think so at all. No.
Now, I know you said earlier, Travis, about the Colts and the running game. I've been against the Colts all year and not because of Daniel Jones. It's not about that. It's not about the hate of him leaving there and having a good year. When you break down their schedule and you look at the teams that they played, yes, they have won games that they should have won, but they've also lost games that they should have won, right?
Yeah.
They lost to a plus 500 Steelers. Okay. They lost to a plus 500 Rams. They beat the Broncos on a last-minute field goal with a flag in it. And then they beat the Chargers, but that was a plus 500 team, but the Chargers are still questionable in my books as well, too. So is the Colts being at 8-2, it is hard to play in Indy. We've seen it multiple years. We've seen it with Peyton Manning. We've seen it with, a lot of other quarterbacks. When Indy makes the playoffs and they have a whole game, we've seen the away team have struggles in Indy, right? But is this team able to win a playoff game not at home? That's the question. Is this team able to go into Kansas City, Buffalo, we'll even say Denver, and win a playoff game? And Eric, we'll start with you on that question.
Yeah, I think as far as the first two, as far as Kansas City and Buffalo, that'll definitely be tough. I think that they could, given what we were just talking about with the Broncos, I think they could go in and win that. That one could go either way, but yeah, so I think they could. It's just the first two teams you mentioned, I don't see them beating them, but as we know, any given Sunday, especially this year. So
You're right, and it is any given Sunday, especially this year. But do you see them going into New England in Foxborough? How hyped that crowd is of seeing, you got to think, right? We've seen Tom Brady dominate that division for years, right? We've seen Tom Brady dominate the AFC for years, right? So now they have Drake May. And now how loud this crowd is tonight in Foxborough, do you think Daniel Jones, with his history, can go into Foxborough and win a playoff game?
Yeah, I mean that's a good point as well with the Patriots, and obviously they're rolling right now, 8-2, same type of thing. So I think that would be a big challenge for them. I'll lean towards no, just if I had to give an answer right now. But I mean, at 8-2, they obviously got to feel a little bit good, and especially they didn't expect them to do much going into this season. So 8-2, you got to feel good. But yeah, there's reservations there for sure.
Travis?
I don't think they can go into Buffalo or Kansas City, but I think they could go into Gillette Stadium. Like I said, with that offensive line, that run a game, you can control the clock, control the game. Got a pretty good defense. I feel like they'd have a good shot. Like I said, I didn't believe much in the Colts at first, but the more they play this year, the more I see them play, the more I believe in them. But I still think Buffalo and Kansas City are the AFC teams to beat.
Mafia?
Yeah, I'll agree for sure. I'm not that running game scares me, especially as a Bills fan with how bad our run defense can be at times. That rushing attack definitely scares me if Indy was to, I mean, we'd have to go into Indy at this point, looking based on what it looks like right now. But I mean, overall, I wouldn't be too concerned. I think, I think Daniel Jones is having a good year. I don't think he's, I don't think he's a top quarterback in the league by any stretch. And, the playoff games and kind of games down the stretch will, that it kind of matters a little bit more. How the quarterback you have it matters a little bit more. You can't really, necessarily rely on winning some of these games that like in the way that they do. As good of a running game as you have, you're not going to get 300 yards and 2 touchdowns out of Jonathan Taylor. You can't bank on that. You need to have a good run game, but you can't bank on him being 100% of your offense. You have to get it somewhere else, especially in the playoffs. You have to, limit your turnovers, control clock, stuff like that. So I don't really have much faith in them come playoff time.
Well, on the bright side of that offense, like you said, it does come from somewhere else. Tyler Warren has looked great all year. Rookie tight end. He's looked great all year. Daniel Jones woke up Pittman again because last year Pittman with AR was sleeping all year. Mm-hmm. But this year Pittman has woken up a little bit. Alex Pierce has gotten involved a little bit. So, I know Jonathan Taylor has carried 90% of the work, but like you said, they have to find somewhere else. When you're going against these teams, especially come playoff time, they're going to stack the box against you. We've seen it all year. We've seen it when Barkley was with the Giants, and then we're going to see it now with Jonathan Taylor on the Colts. They're going to stack the box. They're going to make you beat them man-on-man coverage, one-on-one on the outside with your quarterback and wide receiver. They're not going to let Jonathan Taylor run up and down the field. So
exactly. And in their 2 losses, the one against the Rams and then recently against Pittsburgh, I think Taylor had 75 rushing yards against Pittsburgh that game. So, if you can keep him in check, that's kind of saying like, hey, we're going to force Daniel Jones to beat us. And I don't think Daniel Jones is really going to go out there and win you a football game. So I feel like that, I have a little bit of reservations as for the Colts' success long term.
I'm checking the stats right now. Hold on. You said against the Steelers?
Yeah.
Check right quick because I actually want to know now.
Let me see. Yeah. At the Steelers, Jonathan Taylor had 45 yards, 14 carries, 45 yards.
And an average of 3.2. So this is that is a playoff defense because we all know the Steelers are going to potentially win that division and make the playoffs, or at least wild card to make, in the playoffs. So that is what you want out of a defense. You want to stop the run. You want Daniel Jones to beat you with his arm. And Daniel Jones, that game against the Steelers, had 342 yards, one touchdown, 3 interceptions. So, that's how you beat a team. You stop the most dominant player on their offense, and you make them beat you with your arm. So we'll see. I mean, to me, I don't think, like I said, I'm not too worried of the Colts. I don't think that they'll make any noise. I do think that if they get an easier matchup like Denver or maybe Steelers, or even the Drake May, being second year going into the playoffs, at Foxborough, I potentially think that the Colts can beat those teams. But when it comes to the Bills, even if the Ravens end up making it, the Chiefs, I don't see the Colts beating any of those 3 teams. That's just my personal opinion. I mean, any disagreement on that?
No.
Nope, I agree with you.
Talk about another AFC team here right quick. The Jaguars. Travis Hunter on IR. BTJ injured. Brendan Strange injured. Supposedly supposed to come back from IR this week. It looks like it's just Trevor Lawrence and Jacoby Myers going out there this week, and Travis Etienne and what's the backup?
Tutton, is that it?
Tutton, yeah, something like that. But I mean, this is another team that we seen win games that they were supposed to win games, but by a few points, and then lose games that we thought they were going to win to teams that are going to the playoffs. And the Jags fall under that same category. Are they a team that we are worried about in the AFC side to try to win and make it further in the playoffs? Travis, we'll start with you.
No, it's another team. I'm just not worried about them at all. I feel like I keep waiting for Lawrence to have like a breakout year, and I just don't think it's ever going to come. I just think he's going to, be a mediocre quarterback, and his whole career is just not there. Just another team I don't believe in.
Yeah. I mean,
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say they started off the year 4-1. So after that Chiefs game, I mean, I was impressed with that game, and then ever since then, haven't really looked good. Especially that Rams game in London, they ended up losing that one 35-7, and just haven't. They beat the Raiders by 1 point, 30-29. So early on in the season, I was surprised by them, but I think they've come down to earth a little bit, and they have. I'm interested in this week's matchup against the Chargers, see what they can do, but. Yeah, I'm not a believer in them right now.
Plus, they're the ones that hurt Joe Burrow, so I hold a grudge.
Mafia.
Yeah, I again, this is not really a team I'm worried about. Especially with Travis Hunter being out. The positives of having a Travis Hunter is that he helps you offensive and defensively. He's playing both ways. Everyone is happy about that or whatever. The downside is when he's out on IR, it hurts you offensively. You're not just having to replace an offensive piece. You're having to replace an offensive and defensive piece. So that hurts. It hurts them on both sides of the ball as well. So, I think that's a big loss for them. And overall, I'm not really too concerned. Like Travis was saying, I feel like we keep waiting for Trevor Lawrence to be this quarterback that he was projected to be, and what everyone was worthy of a first overall pick kind of player, and we're not getting it. So until something until you have a reason or something to believe in him, he hasn't shown us anything yet. So there's no. Why would you believe? He hasn't shown us anything. Why would we believe in him? So for me, I'm out on the Jags.
Yeah, man. I mean, I've never believed in Trevor Lawrence. I thought maybe this year with Travis Hunter and playing both ways, I thought it would be a little bit better. But you know, it's the same old Jags every year, year in, year out. They start off good. They beat teams we think they're going to go far, and then all of a sudden they fall flat on their face, right? And we're going to run through this because this is very interesting here because I was looking at it earlier, right? Beat the Panthers 26-10. Lost to the Bengals 31-27, right? And I watched that game, and they should have never lost that game.
That's when
Right.
Jake Browning came in.
Well, here's the thing, right? And I try to explain this to some people, when this happened. Instead of going for a touchdown, they went for a field goal, right? So they are up by 3 points. So when you have a backup come in, right, and you put it in his head, hey, we only need 3, you only need to get to the 40-yard line, or which one's worse? That they only need to get to the 40-yard line, score 3 points to go for the field goal. I know they scored a touchdown eventually, but or the backup comes in and, hey, we need to go down the field. We need to score a touchdown, tie this game to go in overtime. Like in my head, if I'm the backup, I'm like, damn, more pressure's on me if I got to go down the field and score a touchdown, right? So instead of them kicking a field goal, I think they should have won this game and, went for the touchdown. But that's neither here nor there. But they beat the Texans 17-10. They beat the Niners 26-21. That's a good win. I like that win. They beat the Chiefs 31-28. That's another good win. I like that win. They lost to the Seahawks 20-12. The whole Jaguar team just looked completely lost that game. They lost to the Rams in London, where they normally play good, at 35-7. Beat the Raiders 30-29 on a missed 2-point conversion. And then lost to the Texans last week 36-29. So it's that whole wishy-washy with the Jags. It's the same thing year in, year out with the Jags. I don't think this is a team that can make any noise in the playoffs. If they do make it to the playoffs and they end up winning, end up getting a wild card spot, I think they're wild card knockout. I don't think they have any chance of winning any games in the playoffs. But obviously any given Sunday, but they need a matchup like the Broncos to at least compete with. I know we haven't seen them play the Colts yet. We won't see that until middle of December. We got a whole month for that, but it's pretty much going to be the Colts and the Jags fighting for this division, when that time comes. But I don't think the Jags can beat the Colts. I think the Colts are too powered on offense. Jonathan Taylor will pick that defense apart. So, I mean, like we said, are we worried about the Jags in the playoffs?
Not at all.
At this
No,
point,
I
if
agree.
I was a Jags fan, I'd be more concerned about, if they're going to make the playoffs than, being concerned about how they're going to perform in the playoffs. I feel like, they're going to be flirting with that, the teams that are in the hunt. And right now it's looking like, Kansas City, Buffalo, Baltimore with a healthy Lamar. Those are going to be the teams that are all fighting for the wild card spot. So they're going to have to beat out, some pretty big teams in order to just make the playoffs. So I think they need to focus on that before they need to focus on, how are they going to perform in the playoffs.
I'm glad you said that, Mafia, because, when I was looking at these numbers and stuff and looking at the divisions, right? So the divisions end right now, right? You got New England in the East. You got Pittsburgh in the North. You got Indy in the South. You got Denver in the West, right? That leaves the Chargers winning a wild card spot. That leaves the Bills winning a wild card spot. And then it would be a toss-up right now if the season were to end between the Jaguars and the Chiefs, because I don't know how they would, rank those or what it would be. But, right now they have the Jags above the Chiefs for the 7th spot. So if the season were to end, the Jags would have the 7th seed. And the Chiefs would be left out the playoffs. Everyone dreams of that, but we all know that's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
So right now the Jags are on the bubble of that wild card spot. So they do need to win out and fight for, because Baltimore's coming. Now Lamar's healthy, Baltimore's coming. So Baltimore can win out and make a wild card.
And a pretty weak ass division in Baltimore too.
Yeah, and to see they could also potentially win the division too, because they're only really one game behind Pittsburgh right now. So, but to see a flip from last year, to see Baltimore, the Bills, and Kansas City winning the division to this year, potentially seeing them in a wild card spot is actually pretty insane to me. You know, I know Mafia, this brings back 2000 memories for you. You know, being a Bills fan, seeing Tom Brady dominate that. So, you know, we won't go there. We won't go there yet. But a team I do want to talk about, Mafia, and I want you to elaborate on this game. The Bills and the Dolphins. What happened?
How much time you got? You know, there's so much that went wrong with this.
All right. Well, then just sum it up a little bit. Then let's not. You know what I mean?
Essentially, what the issue is, I feel like for us is we got really focused on limiting Josh Allen. Josh Allen needs to protect the ball. Limit your turnovers. Which is important, sure. You don't want to be throwing 15 interceptions in a season. I get that. That's fine. But when you're hammering him, limit the turnovers, you're changing what makes him special, and you're taking away what makes him the great player that he is. And that's his I don't give a F attitude and just going out there and balling. You know, play a little bit of backyard ball. That's fine. You know, take the good with the bad. Like we need to it's like you're pulling back the horse a little bit. Like, you know, open up the floodgates, let them go wild, and we'll live with it. But that's how we've been successful in the past is let him throw the ball 80 yards downfield. He can throw it that far if you want him, if you let him. You know, why are we keeping the passes to the line of scrimmage is the furthest that he's throwing the ball? You know, like to me, it doesn't make any sense. We need help at wide receiver. That's beyond a doubt for sure. But I think it's also the mindset and like the way that Joe Brady is calling this offense is limiting what makes Josh Allen special. And you know, so that'd be where I would start is, you know, hopefully we get Josh Palmer back this weekend and he can add a little bit of like at least an intermediate threat, because right now run game or pass game, it doesn't matter because we're only passing it to the line of scrimmage. So you can still stack the box even if we're passing the ball. It doesn't make a difference. You can have everybody stand within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage and they're able to make a play on the ball, whether it's a run or a pass, because we're not stretching the field at all.
Not to cut you off or anything, but Trayvon Henderson with a hat trick, receiving touchdown now. So, but no, I mean, looking at these stats though, right, Mafia, and you got Shakir 7 catches, Coleman 3, Kincaid 2, Knox 3, Hawes 1. You know, and then the rest of them, like, you know, backups and stuff like that. Like Cook's got 5 receptions. Ty Johnson's got 2 receptions. Curtis Samuel's got 1 reception. Like everyone's in 20 plus yards that's called a reception. You know, and obviously, you know, you don't have that true number 1, so Allen has to spread the ball out more. But last year we seen it and it looked perfectly fine. This year we see it and it looks a little different. It looks a little weird. What changed from last year to this year?
To be honest, I don't really know. We went from everybody eats to everybody starves, you know? Like I think there's just our play design maybe is an issue, because we were scheming for plays that, you know, would allow for a little bit of yards after the catch, but right now it feels a lot like just catch the ball and there's a guy right on you and you're not getting the, you know, last year I think Khalil Shakir led the league in yards after the catch, and I don't think he's doing that this year. So, you know, I think it just all boils down to our play design and our creativity on offense. And our defense is not really helping out our offense either. You know, we're not getting off the field. We're letting the other teams kind of extend the drives, and you know, we can't stop the run to save our lives. So there's you know, lots that went wrong on in that game for sure. But for me, I would start with like kind of the creativity, because it doesn't. We could have, you know, we could have Jerry Rice out there. If if we're not throwing the ball down the field, like it's not going to be, it's not a successful offense. It doesn't matter who you put out there.
We'll get some outsider perspectives here. Eric, what did you notice in that game that the Bills did differently than they have all year?
Yeah, it just seemed to be like, as you guys were talking about with the passing game. I mean, 40 attempts, only 306 yards. You didn't have a receiver more than 60 yards, and Shakir had 58 on the game. So it just seemed like it was really not a good day for the offense. And I was convinced, I'm pretty sure going into last week, I had them at the top of my power rankings just because that win against the Chiefs was a big one. They put up 40 points the game prior to that against the Panthers, who are 5-5, I believe, on the season. So the 2 games before that, I was really convinced at the offense, and they were riding high. But last week, just not a good game at all. And we'll see if they can bounce back. But yeah, I was definitely surprised at the lack of offensive output for sure.
Travis?
Division games are always tough. I feel like Miami does this all the time. When Buffalo's really good, they'll have a really good game against Buffalo and beat them. Even back in the days when Patriots had their dynasty, and I feel like it was once a year they would beat them. But I'm not worried about Buffalo. You still got Josh Allen. You still want to make the playoffs. You're still going to have a good chance of winning it all. I hope you do. I want you guys to win one. As long as Mahomes and Kansas City don't win again.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I feel like, yeah, it's a division game. You know, those kinds of things happen, but like, it just sucks because I feel like we play down to our opponent a lot too. Like, you know, we were able to beat Baltimore, a fully healthy Baltimore Ravens week 1. We were able to beat Kansas City. And then, you know, we play Atlanta and Atlanta beats us, or Miami, who, you know, they were literally on their 3rd and 4th string corners, and like Keon Coleman still can't get open and catch a ball. So like, you know, it's just frustrating to watch a team that, you know, like we said, this is one of those games that we should have been winning by 30, 40 points to say like, hey, we're a legit team. But not only did we not win by 30 or 40 points, we lost by like 30 points. So like, it was just bad all around.
Yep.
Well, obviously we know they're going to make the playoffs. Obviously we know they're going to be a threat in the playoffs. This is one of those games where it gets the fans all riled up, gets them, you know, mad because, you know, they should have won this game. It's the Dolphins, right? But another team in this same division is running away with this league, and we see it tonight as well. But the Patriots beating the Bucs last week, how big was that for them? I know the Bucs are injured. I know the Bucs have a lot of problems on that offense until they're able to get fully healthy. But Baker Mayfield has been cooking all year, right? He's been in MVP talks. You know, that team has been number 1 seed in rankings week in, week out, at least top 2. But the Patriots beating them last week. How big, you know, does that make that for the Patriots, or how bad is that for the Bucs? And Eric, we'll start with you on that one. By the way, Mafia, this comment's for you.
Anybody heard of that guy before? Yeah, he's
No.
the guy who's locking up Keon Coleman all game. So
Yeah, I think as far as the Patriots, I mean, it's huge because having a young quarterback like Drake May in his 2nd season, just continuing to roll as they are doing tonight, so far up 21-7 over the Jets. So I think it was a big game, obviously, for the Patriots. As far as the Bucs, you pointed out that they do have some injuries. I don't know the timeline on Evans and some of the other guys, but the NFC is really tough, as we mentioned. So I would have some concerns if I were the Buccaneers, but obviously they're still going to be a playoff team. But yeah, going back to the original question about the Patriots, anytime you can continue to stockpile wins, give yourself a comfortable lead with a team like the Bills on your heels, I think that's a huge thing for them, and especially for the confidence of Drake May, who has also had an MVP type season.
Travis?
I agree. I'm a fan of the Bucs. I'm a believer in Baker Mayfield. When they traded him for to get Deshaun Watson, I thought that was the stupidest move the Browns could have ever made. I loved it as a Bengals fan.
So it's funny you said that because we've been talking about that all year. How what would happen if the Browns still had Baker?
I think they'd be all right. I think they were fine. Didn't they make the playoffs that one year with him?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the Browns.
And they should
I
have beat the
guess.
Chiefs in the playoffs too that year too.
Yeah, I've always been a fan of Baker Mayfield. Patriots, I just don't believe in them yet. I guess I got to see more from May first. Henderson looks pretty damn good, though. You say he got a hat trick now?
Yeah, he got 3 touchdowns, 2 rushing, 1 receiving. Travis, I do have a question for you. Were you alive when you seen wide right? That's a question I have for you.
Who?
Wide right. When the Bills kicker kicked it wide right.
Oh,
were you
no.
alive for that? You were not. Okay. Mafia was alive for that. That's why I just had to ask. So I just try to get time
alive.
frame. That's what.
I don't remember it, but I was alive. Okay, I was a kid. I don't remember.
I'm just trying to get time frame in my head. That's all. I always like to mess with Mafia about that because the Giants Bills rival that we have, me and him. But no, going back to the Patriots, though, are they a team that can make some noise in the playoffs against the Bills? Again, they have beat the Bills, once this year. When do they play you again, Mafia? Or you already played again?
I forget. It's later on in the season. I think it's like week 16 or 17 or something like that.
Okay. So obviously that game will be big depending on what the Bills look like and close to finishing, and then same with the Patriots. But the thing is, though, are the Patriots a team to worry about in the AFC? Are they a team that can go into Kansas City and beat Kansas City? Are they a team that can go into Buffalo and beat Buffalo if they don't win the division? Obviously, they're looking as the number 1 seed. We don't know how the end of the season is going to fold out or pan out. But are they a team that we're worried about in the AFC? Mafia. I know it hurts your soul talking about them, but
I'll try and be as unbiased as I can here. As a guy who watched them dominate us for 20 years. I think they're a well coached, really good team. They got the pieces kind of everywhere, especially if Trayvon keeps playing this way. They're a good team for sure. Inexperienced, when it comes to playing in the playoffs. So that we'll see how that goes. But for sure, I have more faith in the Patriots than I do in like Indy or Denver at this point. But I will say it was not last year, the season before, with like 3 games left in the season. Miami had a 3-game lead on us as well in the division, and we came back and ended up winning the division that year too. So I wouldn't count us out of the division race just yet. And I think if we come back and actually win the division, that'd change my thoughts on the Patriots. It'd be different for them having to go on the road for all of their playoff games than it would be for them getting to sit at home and host all the games for the playoffs. So kind of how the rest of the season breaks down will kind of change how I feel about the Patriots. But yeah, man, they're a really good team. They're going to be a hard out for
Eric.
Yeah, I mean, I think as far as the Patriots go, I definitely need to see more. I mentioned, and we were just talking about the youth on that team, the fact that Drake May is a second-year quarterback, and they didn't have huge expectations coming into the year. So I definitely need to see more. They have had some very convincing wins so far this season. They're playing very well tonight. So I think they can be a threat in the postseason. But obviously, as we've talked about, anytime you go into Kansas City or go into Buffalo, even playing Buffalo, if they were to play them at Gillette Stadium at home, it's still going to be a tough game. So I'm just going to need to see a little bit more of them due to the inexperience in the postseason with this current roster and just with the young team as well. But they have a shot for sure with how they've been playing.
Travis?
I agree with both of you guys. They're a good team. I do think they're well coached. I love Vrabel. Always been a big fan of his. I don't see them going into Kansas City or Buffalo. They're probably a year or two, maybe even more than that, years away from doing that. But I do think they're well coached team. Got some good pieces. Maybe give Drake May a little bit more time, see what he can do.
Now, the time is to do it now. Rookie contract. Load that roster up.
Yeah.
Try to win him a ship, while he's still on that rookie contract. Because, once he's off that rookie contract, it becomes a lot harder to win a ring. I mean, as in the history of the Patriots that we all know, that we grew up watching, we always knew Tom Brady took pay cuts. He always took pay cuts to build that roster, and he didn't care about the money because he knew his endorsements and all the other stuff he would get his money from, right? So these are things that, we don't see as often nowadays. We've seen Patrick Mahomes take a $500 million contract, and that's why they never have any offensive weapons. They have decent ones, but they're not superstars. They're not, a Jamar Chase. They're not a Justin Jefferson, So these are the things nowadays compared to what we've seen with Tom Brady, taking those pay cuts. Now, I'm not saying that he, said, F the money, don't give me no money. But, he did make millions, but he wasn't asking for $500 million contracts, when he deserved it. He wasn't asking for $250 million contracts when he deserved it. You know what I mean? So the time to do it is now, while he's still on that rookie contract, to load that roster and to try to win him a ring, while you don't have to pay him that money. Because when that time comes, if Drake May the next 2 or 3 years continues to do what he's doing this year, you're going to have to pay him a hefty check, unless he decides to take that pay cut. So, Ravens, Vikings, right? We all were hyped up on the Vikings. JJ, he's about to make the other JJ eat and go crazy, and, best quarterback he's had his whole career, but they look really iffy this year. I know he got hurt, and we've seen other quarterbacks come in, but even Justin Jefferson himself doesn't look like Justin Jefferson. And Travis, we'll start you. What's going on with the Vikings? What do you think the problem is there?
They just don't have a quarterback. I don't believe in. I feel like I say this about every quarterback we've talked about. I just don't believe in him either. I just don't see it. I don't know.
I mean, the thing is, right? We know who Justin Jefferson is. We've seen JJ McCarthy win all these college games, get hurt last year, come back, start off hot, win 1 or 2 games this year, and then get hurt again. But it's got to be more than just that, And Eric, give me your thoughts on that. Like, what's wrong with the Vikings?
Yeah, I think I agree with the same thing about McCarthy. One, I've never really been high on him coming out of college. I mean, obviously a great career at Michigan, but I think that's one thing. But then the fact that he got hurt, obviously early on, you have to have Carson Wentz come in. He looked shaky, was also playing through injuries as well. And I just don't think they've really been able to establish a rhythm offensively. And they've been really similar to like the Jags, where it's just been hot and cold. They've had times where they've shown that they can be a good team, and then other times, like last week and some other games this year, where they just haven't looked good at all. So it's just been hard to get in a rhythm offensively, really, especially with 2 elite receivers in Addison and Jefferson. I mean, they had a combined 72 yards last week. That's just not going to win many ball games. So, yeah, it's just inconsistency on offense is the main story that I'm seeing.
Mafia?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have much faith in. I guess he's going by 9 these days. But yeah, I think if I was the Minnesota Vikings and I had Sam Darnold and Daniel Jones in the building at the same time, and we let them both walk because we believed in JJ McCarthy, and now you look at the seasons that both of those guys are having right now. I mean, I think it's pretty crazy that they chose McCarthy over either one of those guys. And yeah, I think the issue is, you know, they can't move the ball on offense, and their defense is out there. You know, their defense is still good. It's still that same defense that they had last year that everybody was, you know, was giving such high praise for. But they're on the field like 90% of the game. So like, you know, by the end of it, they're tired, and they're not able to, that kind of wears you down being out there so much. So their issue is they're not playing all three phases of the football of a football game, you know, and their defense is out there way too much, and just kind of, you know, it's a, you can't win that's not a recipe for winning football games. So yeah, if I was them, I would just be kicking myself that we had, you know, take your pick, Sam Darnold or Daniel Jones, and I feel like either one of those guys would have been better than JJ McCarthy, and, you know, would be able to get the ball to Jefferson, who I think, you know, it's so dependent on other factors, but, you know, I think Jefferson is still one of the best wide receivers in the league, but just he doesn't have a guy capable of getting him the ball, so you can't really exploit or use him as much as you should because of the bad quarterback play.
I mean, we've seen the Vikings beat the Lions, then we've seen the Vikings get demolished by the Chargers, right? And then we've seen them lose to the Eagles, but then we've seen them beat the Bears. So like they're up and down, you know. And I know their record doesn't speak for much, but are they can we lock them in for a wild card spot in the NFC? Do you think that they're going to be able to win a wild card spot?
I don't see it.
Yeah,
It's
I
gonna be
mean,
tough.
I think it'll be
Yeah,
tough
it's gonna
for
be tough.
sure.
Even if they did, they ain't going to do nothing, obviously.
Now, the team they played against last week was the Ravens. We know Lamar's back. He looked good, right? We know he was hurt. We know why their record is what they are, because of him being hurt, right? But the question is, can they continue it, and can they win that division? But we all know that they're potentially getting a wild card spot, right? That's like almost guaranteed. But the chances of them winning that division and being a top 3 seed, you know, quote unquote, from the division win, are they making noise in the playoffs? Are we worried about them this year? Or, you know, is it just another, they can't get over the Bills hump? Is it, you know, Eric?
Yeah, I mean, as far as the division, I think that's definitely possible.
Mute it yourself.
Oh, I muted. There we go. Yeah, I think as far as the division, it's definitely possible because we've seen the fact that they won 3 straight games. We've also seen the Steelers kind of iffy recently, 5-4. So there's only a game difference. So I think it's possible as far as winning the division and definitely making the playoffs. As far as being a threat in the playoffs, it'll be tough. Definitely less confident in them this year than I have been in previous years. Last year, obviously the year before, Lamar won the MVP. Last year, right there with Josh Allen for potential winning MVP. So I think my confidence level in them going into the playoffs, getting into the playoffs, yes, but making noise in the playoffs, I don't have too much confidence in that.
Travis?
Yeah, they can definitely win the division. Cincinnati's defense can't stop anyone. Even, you know, they're putting up good numbers with Joe Flacco, but defense is awful. So I think Aaron Rodgers is that magic's going to run out eventually. So definitely going to win the division. I just have a feeling they are going to make a run in the playoffs this year. And it's going to be the storyline of how bad they were when Lamar was hurt, went from 2-5 or whatever they were to being in the Super Bowl this year. And I think Lamar's finally going to get over that hump of the Josh Allen or Mahomes and see if he can finally do it. But got to see him do it first, I guess.
Mafia?
Yeah, I think I said at the beginning of the show, I think they're going to win the division. I think we've seen, previous years the Steelers play well at the beginning half of the season, and then kind of fall off at the end. Everyone remembers that time when they started
11,
out
11 and
the
0.
11-0 season, and then
Yeah.
they kind of lost out. But it'll be tough. I think they're gonna they'll win enough games to take the lead in the division. But I think it's going to take a lot for them to kind of get Lamar back, get back into flow, and then not only have to continue that in through the playoffs where Lamar has struggled before, and the team has struggled before. So it'll be a lot for them to overcome and kind of get on a roll, and then also have to continue that into the playoffs. So I definitely see them making the playoffs. I definitely see them hosting a playoff game with the division win. But we'll see kind of how deep of a run they can go, and that I wouldn't with our history, I wouldn't be afraid of playing the Ravens in the playoffs. I think their defense is pretty bad too. They're kind of known for being a good defense, and it's kind of like that whole story in the AFC North where it used to be a division known for running the football and hard-nosed defense, and you don't know what kind of defense you're getting from the Steelers. The Ravens defense doesn't look that good at all. Bengals defense is not good. Sorry, Travis. But it's just a lot. The only good defense in the whole league is Cleveland. In the whole division is Cleveland. They have the best defense but they can't figure out how to move the ball at all. So I wouldn't be too concerned about Baltimore moving deep in the playoffs, but that probably just makes me sound like a hater Bills fan.
All right. So in these late games in Monday night's game, right? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 NFC teams that played in the late Monday night game last week, right? And I'm gonna name them off for you, and I'm gonna have a question for you after. Seahawks, Lions, Rams, 49ers, or 6. Yeah, Seahawks, Lions, Rams, 49ers, Eagles, Packers, right? Those 16 played the late window Sunday night, Monday night game. Out of those teams I named, who's your number 1 seed in the NFC?
The team I like the most in the NFC is the Rams. I think I think they're probably the best team in that whole conference. I feel like the Eagles will get there. They're just a team that's kind of loaded across the board, but they're kind of going through it right now with some of their players and kind of play calling as well. If you listen to their fans, I think they're not a huge fan of that Kevin Patullo guy. But yeah, I think for me, the team that I think the most of is the Rams for sure.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I did a power rankings earlier. I had the Rams at number 1, Eagles at number 2. I just think that the Rams have been dominant. The Eagles, with the offensive issues that you just mentioned, only put up 10 points this last week. I think it's a combination of it being the bye and the play calling as well, and obviously execution comes down to it as well. But the Eagles, I like the move, getting Jalen Phillips at the deadline. I think that helps their defense, and it showed out on Monday night's game. But yeah, right now I would go with the Rams at number 1. I think Stafford's having a phenomenal season, especially at his age.
Travis?
I want to go with the Lions. I know I'm a big fan of Dan Campbell too. I like him. I know they had a hell of a year last year and lost in the first round. I think they turned that around this year and make a run at it. I think they have a good run game. Jared Goff's, he's not a top quarterback, but he's a top tier quarterback, I guess. And you got Amon St. Brown. Like I said, the running backs. I think they make a good run at it this year.
So the Packers, hit or miss, not making any noise, right? 49ers, a lot of injuries. We don't know when those players are coming back. We don't know what's going on with that situation. Are we worried about them in the playoffs?
Not
I don't
really.
think so. I know right now they're outside of a spot. If you look at the 1 through 8, they're at number 8 right now. But yeah, I'm not too worried about them right now, the Niners.
Okay. So I know we're high on the Rams. I know we're high on the Lions, and we know the Eagles are going to be there, right? They pretty much locked up the NFC East. I know that hurts to say. First back-to-back NFC East champion in almost 20 years. But the Seahawks, I know we've seen last year with Sam Darnold on the Vikings. He was, in the playoffs. He's seen the Madden squiggly lines. He didn't know what was going on, right? Will we see that repeat this year of him in the playoffs, of him doing good all year and then all of a sudden getting to the playoffs and not knowing what to do with the ball? Are they a threat, or is Sam Darnold get over that hump and win a playoff game this year?
I don't think they're a threat. Seattle might be the least team I even think about in the NFL. They never even crossed my mind. I don't know. I just don't trust in them at all.
I like them better than the 49ers. I have more faith in the Seahawks than
Yeah.
I do the 49ers, but I wouldn't it's much more likely that we'll see Sam Darnold seeing ghosts than we will see him, I feel like playing well in a playoff game.
Yeah, I think the offenses look really good. I mean, they're putting up the last 2 games. They've put up a combined 82 points. So I like what I've seen from them. But you mentioned some of the playoff issues last year with Sam Darnold, and I have them ranked pretty highly. But as far as the postseason, I'm a little bit iffy on that end. I think that the Eagles obviously have a big shot because of their experience winning the Super Bowl last year. I think the Lions, they've had some tough losses in the playoffs, so they're continuing to get experience. Goff as well. So as far as the question with them in the playoffs, I could see them potentially winning a playoff game or so, but that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't trust Sam Darnold at all. We've seen it last year, with the Vikings. He did good all year, and then all of a sudden, first playoff game, it just flopped, right? The team I see, or the 2 teams I see making the most noise in the playoffs, I think the Bucks, when they get healthy again, I could see them potentially making the noise. And then obviously I know we're all in agreement on the Eagles. So the Eagles, like you said, having those issues right now, their players or not players, but player is selling out on streams. We all seen that. We all heard that. We know that they're not a fan of the offensive coordinator, but we've seen glimpses of them get it together, and we've seen them how they performed. And those trade pieces that they got at the trade deadline were huge for that defense. So we know they'll be there. Potentially, I see an Eagles-Buck NFC Championship if it were to play out that way and they were able to meet in the playoffs or in the NFC Championship. But the team that is the dark horse is, like Travis said, the Lions. I think they have something to prove this year. I know they lost both coordinators this year to coaching jobs, their head coaching jobs, but they have something to prove. Dan Campbell has something to prove. Jared Goff has something to prove. Jared Goff's been to the Super Bowl. I know he lost, but he's been to the Super Bowl. He's got something to prove. They look hungry. They want it, So that's a team to watch in these late matchups or in this late of the season coming up on playoffs. So anything else need to be said about last week before we move forward?
I was just going to mention, as far as the Eagles you were mentioning there, I think it's a similar thing as last year. There were some questions about the offense mid-season. I know that I'm near the Philly area, so I see the Philadelphia media and how they act, and there were a lot of question marks on offense last year, and they ended up turning it around just fine, as we saw, obviously. So I'm not worried about the Eagles at all. I think they'll be just fine. But yeah, that was the last thing I had.
Mafia, Travis, anything about last week?
Well,
Not really.
Okay. Oh,
Just get me a new offensive coordinator, new GM, a couple new wide receivers, and yeah, that's pretty much all we need in Buffalo.
Give me a whole new defense.
yeah.
I second that as well.
I mean, it's setting up to be that way. Pats, Bucks in the Super Bowl. So we'll see what happens. Look, Pats, Seahawks. Oh, Caleb. Oh, Caleb. Jumping into the following week, this week that we're on right now, week 11. You know, we only got 7 more weeks of football, boys, before playoffs. I mean, this year's flu, like literally has flu. Like, you know, I feel like it was just a couple of days ago that it was the beginning of the season. But quick predictions, quick statements of each game, run down the list, and you know, if there's something that we need to talk about for that game, we'll talk about it. But I'm just gonna go right down the list. Packers, Giants, Mafia.
Packers.
Eric,
Yeah, I'll go Packers as well.
Travis.
Packers. Easy.
Thanks, appreciate you guys. much love, everybody.
I'm a Jackson Dart fan, though. I do like him. I think he's good.
Anything to point out in this game?
Not
think
really.
Jameis-
I mean, I feel,
Jameis will swing it.
Yeah, I want to see.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing him plays. It's
I'd
always
rather see Jameis go 6 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, than to see Russell Wilson throw the ball out of the back of the end zone 4 times in a row. So
yeah, I agree.
So, might be shit bowl of the week. Commanders, Dolphins, Mafia.
yeah, that is not a good matchup. I guess I'll go Commanders. I feel like Miami's not really even though they just beat us, I still think they're a really bad team. I think we just played really, really bad. So yeah, I'll go Commanders.
Eric.
Yeah, I'll go Commanders as well. Obviously, they've had a ton of injuries this year, but so the 3-7 definitely not what I expected. But I see them picking up a win, making it 4-7.
Travis.
I think the Commanders are the most disappointing team this year, but I do think they win this one. Miami's pretty bad.
And Travis, we'll start with you on this one. Bengals, Steelers.
Well, I mean,
I had to put you on the
Bengals are gonna win
spot.
the division. They're going to the Super Bowl.
I had to put you on the spot.
I think the Steelers get this one. We already beat them once. The Steelers get this one. Our defense is awful. Just can't stop anyone.
Eric.
I'm going Steelers as well. I think we mentioned earlier the Ravens are right on their heels, 4-5. So this is a must-win game for them, and I see them taking that Steelers.
Mafia.
Yeah, I'll go Steelers as well.
Now, before we continue, Mafia had a statement from last week, and I want to see, Travis, your opinion on this. And it was more of a little bit of a troll statement, but it actually also makes sense, right? You have a lot of holes on your defense, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you also obviously have a high-powered offense, but Joe Burrow has been hurt a lot, right?
Yeah.
So the thing we were talking about last week was, is it time to start moving off of those high-powered offenses and start rebuilding and fixing the team as a whole? Or because your cap space is hell right now, you got 3 players with over $75 million every year between Higgins, Chase, and Burrow, right? So as a fan of your team, you know, is it better to just rebuild and start selling off some of these pieces? Or are you comfortable where you at and they just need to draft better pieces? Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely need to draft better pieces. Our drafts lately have been awful. I love T. Higgins, don't get me wrong, but I don't think we should have re-signed him. That was wasted money, I think. Not wasted money, but money that could have went towards the defense. I also think we should have let Hendrickson walk. I think he's overrated. He's a good third down defense end. Well, I saw a stat. I can't remember exactly what it was. He had like 35 tackles last year, and what was it? The 16 of those were the sacks. He can't stop the run. All he does is rush the quarterback, which I know that's what he's paid for. But I think that was wasting money. Shamar Stewart was an awful draft pick. So I guess to answer your question, I think we should let some of them people walk and spend some money on the defense
And draft better. So pretty much is
and
all of
draft
it.
better. Yes.
No, because we were really talking about it last week, and I know, Mafia was trolling a little bit, but he was like, "Oh, they should trade Joe Burrow," and it really got me thinking, though, like not physically trade Joe Burrow, but like start selling off some of the higher price people to where you're able to use some of that money to fix that defense. Because, brother, to be honest with you, the last 2 or 3 years that defense has more holes than Swiss cheese.
It does.
You know
I
what
think
I'm saying? So
you keep Burrow and Chase, everyone else is fair game.
yeah.
But
No, I respect that because, like, literally, we seen them like the year that Joe Burrow went to the Super Bowl, right? That defense wasn't that great, but it wasn't this bad. You know what I mean? Like it went backwards. You know what I mean? And and normally you see teams go forward, but like from that year that y'all went to the Super Bowl to this year, it's that defense has tremendously dropped. So it just got me thinking, and because you're a Bengals fan, I was like, perfect. I can ask this question. I don't really talk to much Bengal fans, but like one or two, and they pretty much say the same thing. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to know what your opinion on that was.
Yeah, I think Burrow and Chase, you got to keep them. They're untouchable. Everyone else is fair game, though.
Respect. Eric, to you, Chargers, Jaguars.
We go with Chargers. I think that we touched earlier on some of the injuries and the inconsistencies with the Jaguars, so I'll go Chargers there.
Mafia.
Yeah, I'll go Chargers too. I just think their offense is, they've got a pretty good offense there, so I'll stick with the Chargers.
Travis.
Yeah, Chargers.
Anything to talk about in this game? Anything to point out in this game? No?
I don't think so.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Game of the week, potentially. Bills, Bucks. Mafia, we'll start with you on that one.
Yeah, I expect a big bounce back from the Bills this week. Listening to some of the stuff that has been coming out of one Bills drive. I expect some big changes. We signed a couple of players. I don't think McCole Hardman is really going to change the outcome of he's not a franchise altering player, but he at least adds a little bit of speed that we've needed on our offense. We signed another defensive end as well, so we might be able to keep up because we've been doing pretty well at applying pressure on the quarterbacks. So yeah, I'll go Bills. I expect a big bounce back from them this week, so I'll pick the Bills.
Eric.
Yeah, I'll go Bills as well. I think we mentioned earlier with the Bucks, they have some injuries, and then the Bills' tough loss last week against Dolphins. I see them bouncing back. Also have James Cook having a good game. He didn't have a great game last week. I think the Bills win, and I think James Cook has a solid outing as well.
Travis.
I agree with you guys. I don't see Buffalo putting up back-to-back clunkers. Even though I do like the Bucks, I think it'll be a good game, but I see the Bills coming on top.
Let's say one thing. Give me the Bucks by 10.
10.
Okay. I mean, the
Wait
spread
till you
is
hear
5.
my Giants prediction.
Oh, brother. You already gave it. You already said the Packers, number one. And number two, I don't expect anything out of the Giants the rest of the year, brother. I think we're gonna lose the rest of the games, which is better for me. You know what I mean? At least we'll get some wide receiver help in the draft. But the spread is 5.5. And the over under is 47.5. So expect a good game. I think it's a game of the week, but we'll see what happens. Eric, we'll start with you. Bears, Vikings.
Buffalo, we're sure.
I'm going to go Bears. The same thing that we were talking about earlier, the issues with the Vikings, very hot and cold. The Bears, 6-3 so far in the season. I see them making it 7-3 this weekend.
Travis.
I agree. I don't think either of these teams are very good and are going to make any noise this year. But I think Chicago's on a nice little run right now. I think they keep it going.
Mafia.
Yeah, I'll stick around. I'll stick with the team here. We'll go. I'll pick Chicago as well.
I don't know, man. I feel like it's a division game here. I feel like it's in Minnesota. We know JJ's playing. I don't know, man. I really think Vikings can actually pull this out. I think the thing is, when you get these teams that, start winning games, right? They get on their high horse. They think they can go in, win any games, and this is what we call a trap game. I think this is a trap game for the Bears. I think it humbles them a little bit. I'm not saying that, after this, if they do lose, they're a bad team, but I think it humbles them a little bit. I think it makes them realize, we can't lose these teams that are below us. You know what I mean? See what happens, though. Minnesota is favored by 2.5, though. So, I mean, they're pretty much giving them the home field, spread 3, pretty much. So,
Yeah.
Texans, Titans, Mafia. Yeah, I don't even want to talk about that game, but yeah.
Yeah, I guess I'll go Texans.
Eric.
Yeah, I'll go Texans as well. I'm not sure if Stroud's going to be playing this week. I think Davis Mills will be starting again, but I see them making it 5-5, back to 500.
Travis.
Tennessee's getting this one. I think Houston's pretty bad, and I think Tennessee's pretty bad, but they'll win it. Cam Ward coming out party.
Nice. I hope so.
Panthers, Falcons.
Oh. Panthers won the first one 30-0, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. I don't think. I mean, I'm still going to pick Carolina, but I don't think it'll be. I don't think it'll be 30-0 again.
Eric.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Panthers. Tough loss last week. I mean, they did not look good against the Saints at all. Lost 17-7, but I see them taking this one, and they'd be over 500, which for a Panthers team, I didn't see that coming at all. But, yeah, give me the Panthers.
Travis.
Yeah, I'm going Panthers too. Like you said, I didn't see this coming from Carolina this year, but been playing decent, have a decent record, and I think they'll take this one this week.
So we talked about this over the last couple of weeks. The Panthers are only one game behind the Bucs. We know they're in the same division. Any chance the Panthers can overtake the Bucs for that division?
I don't think so. I mean, it'll be, if they end up winning this week, they'd be 6-5. If the Bucs lose, 6-4. So it's close, but I still see the Buccaneers as a team to beat in that division.
Mafia, Travis.
Yeah, I agree. The rest of the Buccaneers schedule is pretty easy. They got the Saints, they got the Panthers twice, they got the Dolphins, and the Cardinals. So it'll be hard to get enough wins to beat out the Buccaneers.
That's what I was going to ask, is what the schedules were like, but yeah, that's a pretty soft schedule finishing out the year. Tampa Bay will take it.
I mean, I don't think the Panthers are any threat to any team because they still have a lot of holes. But the Bucs start to slip, and we could potentially see the Panthers take that division. But I don't think they make any noise in the playoffs, though.
Mm-mm.
So I retract my statement about the Bucks and the Bills. I forgot about this week. Potential division matchup: Seahawks Rams. There's a lot to talk about here, boys, in this one. Both 7-2 in LA. This game matters for the division. Who we got?
I'm gonna go with the Rams. Like I said, they're my top team in the NFC right now. So yeah, I'll go with the Rams.
Eric?
Yeah, I'll go with the Rams as well. I think that it's going to be in LA, which helps them obviously. So the Rams both teams obviously been looking really good, but I'm much more high on the Rams. So give me the Rams.
Travis?
I agree with the Rams. I know you guys took them earlier, coming out of the NFC, and I took the Lions, but I am high on the Rams also. I've always been a Stafford fan. I think I got, I'll just take the Rams.
I don't know, man. This matchup just has Seahawks written all over it. I don't think the Seahawks have. I mean, the Rams have. They have a very good defense, but I don't think they have the defense to stop JSN. Like JSN has just been dominating defense after defense after defense, week in, week out. And, right now he's potentially the, quote unquote best wide receiver in the league right now, stat wise. So do we see the Rams shutting down JSN? Because if you shut down JSN, you pretty much shut down that offense, that offense runs through JSN. So do we see that defense focusing and double teaming and putting one over the top on JSN? Or do we still see JSN, balling out and doing what he's been doing all year?
Yeah, I mean it's a good point. I just think the way Stafford's been playing recently, he's on an absolute heater. Like he's just. What did he have? 4-5 touchdowns last week? They've got Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua are cooking, and they got the Jared Verse who's good at getting after the quarterback, and it just makes it they're a hard team to play against, man. And I just don't see the Seattle Seahawks being the team to kind of knock them down.
Yeah, I think JSN's. I think he's going to have a solid game for sure. I just think the same thing that you were mentioning with the Rams offense. Stafford's been looking really good, and I love the combo of Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua. So I think that'll just be too much for the Seahawks this coming week.
Travis?
Yeah, I think Jason he's going to get his no matter what. I think the Rams are just a better team all around.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. 49ers Cardinals. Mafia?
Yeah, I know Travis said or said earlier that Washington was his most disappointing team. I think for me, the Cardinals are the most disappointing team this year. I had them, potentially winning that division. And, I felt like they made all the right draft picks and they addressed all their needs on defense. And I just had high hopes for them this year. And, it just not looking good for them. So I will go with the 49ers.
Yeah, I think it'll be a close one. I'm pretty sure I saw Purdy will be back this week. He'll be playing this week. So I think it'll be a close one, but I will take the Niners as well. I think the Cardinals at 3-6 after that loss last week, I see them dropping another.
Yeah, I agree. 49ers, I don't think either team's very good, but I think the 49ers find a way to pull it out.
Yeah, no, I agree, Mafia. I was very high on the Cardinals this year. With them adding Joshua, a couple more defensive pieces through the draft, Call of Duty this year, and I really thought Kyle Murray was gonna, do it, but
I know, man. I thought he had it. I thought it was his.
I thought this was the year of the Cardinals.
And Harrison's going to be out as well.
Yeah. Now Harrison is out. I think Zay Jones is hurt as well too. But was this the last time we see Kyle Murray in a Cardinals uniform?
Yeah. I never heard of a guy who's, he gets injured, he's coming back. Then all of a sudden the backup plays really well, and now we got to put him on a 4-week IR because his injury got worse. You know what like it just felt like they wanted to they just had enough of Kyler Murray. They're going to go with Jacoby Brissett, and it was the whole thing kind of felt a little strange to me. So I don't see them going back to him next season or whatever.
Travis?
Yeah. Okay.
No, go ahead. Either one. Doesn't matter.
I was just going to say, yeah, I think the writing's on the wall there. I think that Brissett, I mean, he looked like Brady against Dallas, but anyone can do that at this point. That's a side note. But yeah, as far as his time there, I think it's just about done.
Travis?
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I think he's about done. Just retire and become a professional Call of Duty or.
He can always go back to baseball. The Athletics drafted him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope Russell Wilson goes back, but then I have to deal with him on my Yankees. So I don't want that either. Ravens, Browns, I think we're all in agreement here. Ravens. I know division matchups, especially in that division in the AFC North. That division is probably one of the toughest divisions when two teams from that division play against each other. But I do think the Ravens stomped the Browns in this one.
Is Lamar back? I heard he might be like he missed practice yesterday and today or something like that, and he might be missing a game again this week.
Good question, bud. Let's see.
Yeah, I think as long as they roll out anyone but Cooper Rush, I think they'll be all right.
He's not on the injury report, so it must be good.
Yeah, I'll still go with the Ravens either way.
Yeah, Baltimore. Cleveland's bad.
I'm sorry, Vegas, that your team is doo-doo like mine, bud. Chiefs, Broncos. Chiefs got to win this to try to win the division. If they want to win the division, it's a huge matchup for them. In Denver, we've seen Patrick Mahomes do it before. It's not like it's anything new to him. Travis.
I think the Chiefs bring the Broncos back down to earth a little bit this week and beat them pretty easily.
Eric?
Yeah, I have it being a pretty competitive game just because it's at the Broncos, so I think they'll have that going for them. I'll go with the Chiefs as well. I don't see them making it to 5-5. I think that would be tough for them to be 5-5, so I'm going to go Chiefs making it 6-4.
Mafia. Unbiased, Mafia. Unbiased.
No, I'll pick. I'll take the Chiefs as well. I think the Denver's on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 game winning streak here. So all good things must come to an end at some point. So I'll go with the Chiefs.
So Sunday night, Philadelphia versus the Lions. Potential 1 seed game here. Lions rolling. Eagles rolling. I don't care what they say. AJ Brown went on stream, did what he did. Eagles still a good team, right? You got the battle of the running backs here. You got top 2 running backs in the league. Even though Saquon isn't performing this year as we seen last year, which we all knew that he was going to regress from last year. Both defenses are pretty solid. Will we see a game like we seen last week with the Packers, or will we just see a no defensive game and it'd be a 45-42 football game this Sunday? Eric, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I see it being not that high. I see it being, like a 30-27, something like that. But I'll go Lions. I think the Eagles have a much better offensive output than last week. I think they do get AJ Brown going. I see Barkley having a decent game, but give me the Lions there.
Travis?
I'm taking the Lions too. I'm a Jalen Hurts hater. I think he's overrated. I just not a fan of his. I think Lions, like I said earlier, I think like what you said, hot take, kind of got something to prove this year, and I think this game they're going to come out with something to prove.
Mafia?
Yeah, I'll go with the Lions as well, and kind of the same thing with what Travis said there. I feel like winning a game will mask a lot of problems that you have, and I feel like the Eagles aren't. I'm not as high on Jalen Hurts as as everybody else seems to be. I feel like they've got issues, but they win a game, so it kind of gets. We can focus on what AJ Brown said on Twitch or whatever instead of like actually watching them play the game and like not be able to move the ball properly. And you know what I mean? So like winning masks kind of all the issues that are going on there. So yeah, I'll go with the Lions.
Oh man. I want to go Lions, but I want to go Eagles. I'll keep my mouth shut on this one because I'm not a fan of Hurts either. But when the thing about Hurts though is when it comes down to trying to win games, he does sometimes put the game on his shoulders and does win the game for them. But then we see games like last week, and it just looked like he doesn't belong in the NFL, right? So it's just right now, like you said, Mafia, it's just very tough to predict the Eagles because of they are 7-2. The winning is masking the problems, but when they're on, they're on. When they're balling, they're balling. So it's gonna be a tough matchup for the Lions going into Philadelphia. Philadelphia is not a very, very easy place to play. So we'll see what happens. Like I said, I want the Lions to win. I just can't make a prediction there because that's just a hard matchup. I retract my statement, by the way, of shit bowl of the week because Monday night's a shit bowl of the week. Like it's
bad, man. It's bad.
No offense to Eric. My team is worse than yours, so I don't. It's not a shot at you, brother, but. Cowboys Raiders in Las Vegas. Almost said Oakland there.
That's how we know you're old.
Yeah. Oh yeah, me. I've been around for a while, bud. What do we expect from this game on Monday, Eric?
Yeah, I got Dallas winning. I think it's going to be like a 35-30 game, though. I see them making Geno Smith look like Mahomes, as they do every single week. I mean, they made Brissett look great as well. But I see it being a high-scoring game. It's obviously going to be an emotional game for Dallas after what happened with Marshawn Nealon last week. So I see them going out, putting out a lot of points on offense, obviously giving up their share of points as well. But give me Dallas in a close one.
Travis?
Yeah, I don't know. It's an ugly game. I'm going to take Oakland. Or you said you were going to say Oakland. Maybe you say Oakland. I'm going to take Vegas.
Travis been around a long time too. It looks like.
Yeah. To be honest, I don't even have a reason why. They're just gut feeling.
I mean, I could see it, but Mafia, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Dallas here. I feel like the Dallas defense is bad, but I think the Raiders offense is worse. I don't have much faith in Geno Smith at all. Ashton Genty at one point, like 100% of his rushing yards came after contact. So he's getting hit in the backfield a lot. And
I think we talked about that the week you ducked us when the Patriots beat the Bills that week. But yeah.
I just feel like they're just a bad team, So I think Dallas is just a better team in my opinion, and I think they'll go there and win the game.
So we talked about the Bengals a little bit. Mafia talked about his Bills a little bit. Now that we're talking about the Cowboys, Eric, what do you want to see from your team, or what do you need to see from your team to compete? Like, we know Dallas is a good team all around. Like, they have good draft pieces. Jerry Jones, everybody talks about Jerry Jones. Yeah, he might be a problem, but he knows how to draft. He's hit on, like I'd say at least 75% of his draft picks he's hit on, right? So in your perspective as a Cowboys fan, what do you want to see for the future? Like, what do you want to see as a team as a whole to make that step? Because, for the time you've been alive and, as a Cowboys fan, you haven't seen anything past that first round, right? So what do you want to see for them to get over that hump?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's going to be some reinforcements coming, obviously, defensively. I liked bringing in Quinn Williams. I know, obviously, you gave up a lot for him, but I think he definitely
better than Chino.
I think they definitely made that defense a little bit better there for sure. They have overshown a few guys coming back, so I'm more optimistic than the defense than I was a week ago, which is not hard at all. So I think you just got to make some changes defensively, whether it be, I don't know what's going to happen with Matt Eberflus. I think he should be gone now, if not at the end of the season. So
he'll be the Giants head coach next year.
probably something like that. But yeah, I think the defense is a big problem. I really like what I've seen offensively. I'm surprised at how good the running back situation has been for them as well. Pickens has been a great pickup. So really high on the offense. It's just the defense. They can't stop anything. So I think that's where they got to put their focus. And they're going to have 2 draft picks this year. I know they'll have one next year since they traded one away. So you just got to continue going on defense. I think the offensive pieces are there, and anything's better than what you got right now on that side of the ball.
Is your offensive line a problem, or are they just hurt?
I don't think they're a problem. I think they're really young. I think that's one of the things. They have Tyler Booker, they just drafted this year. Guyton's in his second season. I know the center, Beebe, I think he's going to be back for this next coming game. So they've had some injuries, but I think it's also the fact that they're a really young offensive line. I'm not really concerned about that unit much at all, though. They seem to be getting pretty healthy.
Now, going into next year, because you don't think that they're making any noise, right? You don't think they're making the wild card in the playoffs this year?
No, especially since the second half of the season. I mean, they got a gauntlet of a schedule. They got the Eagles again. They're going to be playing the Chiefs, the Chargers, the Lions, the Commanders. The divisional game's always tough. So, no, I don't see them making noise this year. I'm curious to see what they do with those 2 draft picks. And we'll see what happens with Pickens and some of the other guys that are free agents. But so I'm more optimistic for the future now that they have some of these draft pieces and picked up Williams defensively. But yeah, this year, I think it's a lost year.
Cool. I respect that. And no, don't ask me no giant questions. Not in the mood for giant questions. Okay?
That's fair enough.
Yeah, I've been through enough. All right. Neighbors hurt, Scatterville hurt, Dart hurt. I think let me mourn, please. Anything else that needs to be discussed about or talked about for this week that we didn't touch up on? Anything that people want to know about or people need to know about?
Yeah, I'm good on my end. I think we pretty much.
I don't think so.
Travis, nothing.
No, I don't.
All right, well,
No.
guys, you know what time it is, right?
Time for the hot takes.
I need the spiciest take of the weekend. You can't have hot take on the show and not do hot takes. So I need the spiciest take. Once you get it, say it.
Okay, I got two for you because I knew it was coming up, so I prepared two of them. My one this week, just for the games this week, I think Josh Allen is going to show why he's the MVP again. Throws for over 350 and 3 touchdowns. So I think that's my hot take for the week. I think my hot take for the whole season coming up, as we talked about him a little bit in this episode. But I think JSN is going to win the Offensive Player of the Year, despite the year that Jonathan Taylor's having. I think JSN gets the Offensive Player of the Year award.
Wow. That's a spicy one. I like that one. Eric, Travis?
I kind of said it earlier. I think it's going to be Cam Ward's coming out party this week. I'm going to put 35 on the board. Book it.
Like that. Eric?
Yeah, no, one I'll go with. I'm not. If he does end up playing this week, I'll throw this out there for the Bills. I'll throw McCole Hardman getting a touchdown in his first game. So
nice.
just throwing that one out there. As you mentioned, he could provide a spark for them. Also, he's got a little bit of speed, and if he's playing, they could definitely use him. So that's one I'll throw out. That's about all I got there.
You know me, I like to go upsets, right? And it's not a big upset, but it works in my favor, right? And I have two really, but one's just like a homer pick. I'm going obviously Giants over Packers, but the spicy one is I think the Bengals beat the Steelers this week. Just being honest with you.
Attaboy. I like it.
So
Sorry, say that again.
I think the Bengals beat the Steelers this week.
Oh yeah, no shot. Sorry, Travis, no shot.
Thanks for ruining my take, and thanks for breaking Travis's heart. That's all. Like you knocked off two birds with one stone perfectly right there. But no, one thing I do want to discuss before we start to wrap this up, though, is your MVP. There's a lot of talks going around, and Mafia, I know we talked about this last week, but, May is up there. Stafford's up there. Mahomes is up there. Allen is starting to pop up there. I want to know who your MVP is, but I don't want to know off of what we've seen. I want to know off of what you feel and what you think, because obviously we know what we see. We know what people are talking about. I want to know, like, what you think personally on who should be the MVP. And Mafia, we'll start with you.
So like from what I see, it should be Jonathan Taylor. From what I feel and what I know that they only vote for quarterbacks, I think it'll go to Matthew Stafford. But that's part of the reason why I think JSN wins Offensive Player of the Year, is because I feel like Jonathan Taylor should be the MVP of the league. But yeah, I'm definitely in the camp of give the MVP to anybody but a quarterback at this point. Just to spread some of that love around. But yeah, so I think right now my MVP would be Matthew Stafford.
Eric?
Yeah, I'm in the exact same boat, actually. I was thinking the exact same thing, where a guy like Taylor, over 1,100 yards so far this season, he's been a huge part of their success. He's the guy who should get it, but if the Saquon Barkley season is any indication last year, it's going to go to a quarterback, and Stafford so far this year's played phenomenal. He only has 2 interceptions this year, which has been the most impressive part to me. So I'm riding Stafford.
Travis?
I agree. I think it should be Jonathan Taylor, but it goes up quarterback. Obviously, a lot of season left to play. I want to go with Josh Allen. I think he's going back to back.
Nice. I like it. I hope so. He's going to really have to turn it around. You know, if he wins back to back, that means he's turned around the season here. So,
because I'm hoping I'm hoping they well, I'm not hoping, but I think they'll make a run and play in the Super Bowl.
I hope not, brother. But
Hot Take would never have me back on the show if the Bills ever win a Super Bowl. Hot Take will never talk to me again.
No. It's not that I would never talk to you again. You'd just be so outrageous that I wouldn't want to talk to you. See the difference? Don't try to put that on me. Okay. No, but you're right though, and it's been a discussion for multiple years now on how I think the last non-quarterback MVP we had was AP, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's correct.
That was what, like early 2000s, mid 2000s.
Yeah.
You know, so every year in and year out. Yes, listen, the most important part of the team is your quarterback. That's your chief and commander, right? That's what controls your offense. That's what gets you wins. But when you count wins and losses, you don't count it. I don't count it, at least. And I know some of you boys that I've had on here don't count it as a quarterback stat because it's more of a team game, right? So what determines an MVP? Whoever does the most for that team, right? So we seen it a couple years ago with Christian McCaffrey. We felt like he should have won MVP. We seen it last year with Saquon Barkley. Everyone in the world felt like he should have won it, you know, with rushing or multi-purpose yards over 2,000 yards, right? This year, same scenario. Jonathan Taylor is the most valuable player in the league and should win MVP, but we all know it's not going to happen. So, like you said, Mafia, they should just give everyone a fair shot of winning the MVP and give it to the person that deserves it the most, and that is Jonathan Taylor. I mean, he is the reason why the Colts are 8-2 right now. My personal opinion.
Yeah.
And then comeback player of the year, like you said, would be JSN. I mean, offensive player of the year would be JSN.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So you can't just keep giving it to these quarterbacks that, you know, yes, the quarterbacks mean a lot, like I said, but you can't just keep giving it to these quarterbacks when they're not potentially the most valuable player on that team. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. The worst example for me, I always mention, if you guys ever want to look it up, I have it up right now because I was talking about it earlier. But 2014, JJ Watt was the most obvious MVP of all time, and it went to Aaron Rodgers. JJ Watt in 2014 had 20 and a half sacks, 1 pick six. He caught 3 touchdown passes as well on offense. 30 tackles for a loss, 1 safety, and it ended up going to Aaron Rodgers. So that for me, that was the year that I was like, okay, it's just never going to go to anybody but a quarterback. So I feel like if we saw a 2,000-yard rusher last year not get it. We saw a Triple Crown winner as well, also not get it. It just for me, it's just a broken award.
2 Triple Crown winners not get it.
Yeah, exactly. Cooper Kupp as well.
Yeah. So I mean, it's getting to the point to where, everyone knows that MVP is just automatically going to go to a quarterback. So everyone's just fighting for that Offensive Player of the Year award instead of the MVP because they know automatically MVP every year goes to a quarterback.
Yeah.
So, but if I'm picking my MVP off of what we know, it's definitely Stafford over May, 100%.
Yeah.
So, but I think that pretty much wraps it up here, boys. Anything you want to say before we start doing what we got to do on the
Go Bills
buys?
Who da?
Eric?
Nah, I got nothing.
Well, I appreciate you boys joining me. Always fun, always a blast. Mafia, go ahead and tell the people where they can find you and what you got in store for them?
Yeah, I'll be. You can find me at Mafia Members Pod on all social medias. I'm sure I'll be back here again. As far as upcoming stuff, I'll just be putting out my regular content on X, and maybe I'll make a couple more actual episodes of my podcast coming up here. I've been taking some time off from doing that, but yeah, we're going to get back into it here coming up. So,
Eric?
Yeah, appreciate you having me. So you can find me on X. It's Clambera, as shown here. I also have my own podcast as well. It's Sports Space Podcast. Do an episode every 2 weeks, so you can check me out on there. Instagram as well. It's just Eric_Clambera. So plenty of ways to find me. Appreciate it.
Travis?
You can find me there at the Travis_2470. That's all I got. I have no podcast.
You know where you guys can find me at right there. That's my name on X. Follow my co-host Austin_Roland 0. Also follow our Sports Podium page at Sports Podium 224 on X, YouTube, and newly TikTok. I appreciate you boys joining me. And until next time, peace.
Later.